Hello and welcome to Ageless Rock, a channel for megalithic sites where megalithic lenses are required to see things from a different perspective. This video is a continuation of part 2 and we are going to check out other areas of Machu Picchu. This little blue-green planet has countless mysterious sights and no amount of logic is going to make sense. So just sit back and enjoy what the world has to offer. The Sacred Valley is one such place in the world where along the Urubamba River was once the center of the Inca Empire. Locally, it is called Vilcamayu in Quechua language, which means sacred river. Let's continue with this monument called Temple of the Sun. The ancient Incas were so advanced that they need to know when is June 21st through this trapezoidal window. The Europeans were so backward they didn't bother telling them anything because they believed the Europeans wouldn't understand it anyway. The hardworking Incas somehow abandoned this place and decided not to come back because megalithic temples are easy to build anyway. When the backward Europeans asked them why they abandoned it, they said it's complicated. Before I move on with Temple of the Sun, I would like to compare another bedrock in Israel. I think everyone is aware of this building as a religious site for the Muslims. It is called Dome of the Rock. Underneath the dome is a sacred rock for those who believe in the Old Testament Bible. But this rock is extremely significant to all Abrahamic religions. It is not just for Muslims. Jews, Catholics, Christians and Muslims all revere this rock. On this rock, three major events happen. It is believed that upon this rock, Adam was created by God. The famous story of Abraham tried to sacrifice his son Isaac happened upon this rock as well. Also, the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven, leaving his footprints on the rock. So you can imagine how important this rock can be. However, before other branches of Judaism existed, it was just a hilltop with megalithic walls and megalithic structures with megalithic tunnels. You have to imagine when Judaism was the only religion. But if you look beyond Judaism and the constructions around the rock, and just imagine when it was just a bedrock, you will have a different perspective. Imagine without the octagonal shrine. It is actually nothing but a bedrock on a peak of a highland called Mount Moriah. It would have been just like this in the very beginning. It is a bedrock exposed on the surface, waiting for millions of years for something to happen. Then the unknown ancient builders came along and did something. They built megalithic walls around this rock just like Machu Picchu in Peru. Temple Mount and its surrounding is full of megalithic walls and megalithic monuments. Under the dome of the rock, there is Cave D known as Well of Souls. Some believe this is where Judgment Day event happens. Under Cave D, there is another mysterious Cave F. No one knows anything about these two caves. So now you can see there is a sacred rock with an immediate cave at the bottom. If I were to draw a parallel scenario, Temple of the Sun is basically a rock with a hole known as Royal Tomb. Can you see the similarity? It all comes down to this simple comparison. There is a rock on top and there is a cave at the bottom. If Judaism worshipped the sun, Dome of the Rock would have been called Temple of the Sun. Although the backward Europeans teach the Incas it was their forefathers who built this city, there is actually no document, no literature, no scientific paper, no newspaper or toilet paper to prove super awesome Incas actually live here as a community. The Temple of the Sun has a window with 4 knobs on each corner. You can compare it to the other 2 windows on the left. Logic tells me they are of the same builders. But who built the other two windows? You can actually find them at Lalibela rock-cut churches in Ethiopia. The Peruvians and Ethiopians communicate telepathically and agree that this is a cool design for useless windows. Even more weird is that the Buddhist swastika design in Ethiopian church has yet to be explained. In 1936, there was a new rediscovery which archaeologists thought it is a tomb. It is a cave about 1.2 kilometers away. Archaeologists believe it is the burial site for King Pachakutek. But they were sadly mistaken. As of today, it is not a tomb, not a palace, and not a temple. But it is definitely a 32 minutes walk up and down the winding terrain for about 1.6 kilometers. Take a hike when you are there and find out yourself when you visit Machu Picchu. Calling this place Temple of the Moon is a misnomer because it is not a temple and has nothing to do with the moon. But it definitely has polygonal megalith with no gap and never need mortar. If you see from the side, there is another trapezoidal false door. So that means the walls are nothing but tight-fitting polygonal blocks. The entire structure is nothing but a pile of stones. This is not Peruvian architecture, even if they were responsible for this. The size of the false door and windows are rather small. They are trapezoidal in shape, just like the one in Gor Gajah in Bali, Ellora Caves in India, and many more around the world. It is the architecture of the unknown megalithic builders. Although no one is sure about the age of this site, it is believed Temple of the Moon that comes with a throne was created around 500 AD. That means it is about 1500 years old. If that is true, that means this site is pre-Inca and Peruvians have been doing polygonal masonry for about 1000 years. For some reason, the king wanted a throne he can sit for 1000 years. I can assure you, this is not a throne. You can find many blocks that you can sit, just like this one in Ollantaytambo. These stones look like they were shaped by scooping or slicing. Nearby, there is a place called Quarry. I think it looks like another throne with seats for 3 kids. But this is called funerary stone because you can take 3 steps up and perform a funeral ritual. How about this? Another throne or just a couch? Did the backward Europeans stole the idea of a couch from the advanced Peruvians? If anything you can sit is a chair, throne or couch, then this must be a theatre. But for now, it is called a quarry because it looks like many blocks of stones were sliced out of the bedrock with rock slicing technology. At Machu Picchu, there is another interesting structure with astronomical alignment. It is called Inti Mache. It is a highly accurate observatory for sunrise on winter solstice in December. When the Earth rotates, the sunrise will be on the other side of this view. This half natural and half unnatural bedrock cave is also known as grotto because Incan religion is based on the sun and worships the sun. Sunlight will enter through the eastern window during December 21st winter solstice. So looking out the window, you can see the sunrise for a brief moment. Another monument is the Sacred Rock. The Sacred Rock, known locally as Wangka, has a reputation of being the outline of Mount Yanantin at the background. But more importantly, it is believed to be able to absorb positive energy. So by going near Wangka and perform rituals to Pachamama is a very spiritual thing to do for the Incas. Here is an interesting blog you can find by walking around virtually. I am very sure Incas didn't spend countless months hacking bedrock to get a 5-step stairs with chisels for a big town. We have power tools today, But yet Incas today made wooden stairs for millions of tourists. Human is by nature going to use the simplest and fastest way to get a job done. There is no such thing as sacred stairs. Therefore, there is no need to hack bedrock for a 4-feet split level. In fact, the tools used by unknown ancient builders can make nice straight cut. If it is a tool that advanced Incas used, that means they decided to keep to themselves, knowing that the backward Europeans cannot handle them anyway. Machu Picchu is actually full of megalithic monuments. If you walk around, you can still find random blocks and monuments no one is talking about. For example, down at the valley near the hydroelectric center, there is an interesting structure. The Incan head carving on the left is pretty obvious that it was done recently, but the trapezoidal false door on the right is something I would like to see for myself. The polygonal blocks with a water spout certainly needs further investigation. The famous name of Lost City of Incas is actually too small to be a city. You can say it is a large village or a big town. That's why there never was a huge city settlement here. The reality is always the same story. The locals never knew how it got there. Machu Picchu was thought to be a temple because of the significance of the sun during winter solstice on June 21st. It was thought to be a palace because of the awesome stone masonry and the impossible task of dragging megaton blocks up the mountain. But for now, it is a real estate of the king. I hope you can now see that Machu Picchu is still very much an unknown archaeological site, and the purpose is still open for debate. Hope you enjoy my short presentation on Machu Picchu and see you next time. Tupananchis Kama.